Once again, a very good morning and Sage Anandam to everyone. This is Dr. Neha Dubey. I'm here with the continuation of a part two of a contribution of a Kautilya in economic development. So we continue with the trait I have discussed earlier, the value. According to the ancient thinkers, we should take the value of the commodity according to the time and place, but there can be a no value, or value means the price of that which is incapable of being exchanged. So in ancient time, it is called as a mulya of that article. So it can be done properly. Population, without consumers, without the population, we cannot do anything. So there is a no concern regarding the growing population, because at that time we need the population, because the so many wars are there, so many things are going on, the so many famines are going on due to the inadequate medical facilities or the inavailability of the food. Many people are die regularly, so that's why we are don't having the concern about the growing population. Still we wanted to grow population. So this is the one concern. Welfare state, the according to this, to promote the economic welfare the people and fully regulate its economic life, that subsidies for the trade, agriculture, irrigations, mines, and the cattle welfare, the poultry, and the other farming activity, the government or the king has to give the certain kind of a things for the welfare of a state. Each citizen was guaranteed protection against the starvation, and at equitable distribution of a wealth and food was objective of the state administration, so that the equality can be maintained in the state. Now, the economic functions, the state should undertake those industries which help directly in making the nation self-sufficient and the self-reliant. Gold, silver, diamond, iron, and the other metals. Private enterprises are to be allowed in agriculture, weaving, arts and crafts, and the right of the ownership. So state basically supported that there are the multiple options. Each and every one people have to be engaged in certain kind of activities for doing the business, for the GDP upgradation, as well as for running the things. Now the slavery. In ancient India, slave was treated as a slave was not be done. As we already discussed that the slavery system not be promoted by the ancient era also, there is a proper allocation of the work for the labor laws. And next one is a public finance. The taxation was the most important source of the revenue of the state in a previous era as well as in a current time. So it was also known as a Rajkar. The rate of the tax was determined in accordance with the dictates of the Hindu religion. The land revenue was an important source of taxation in the ancient India. The early writer described the features of good taxation system are: the tax system should be such as not to prove a great burden to the public. The king should act like the bee which collects the honey without inconveniencing the plant. That is more important. Means the government or the king has to leave the taxes, but not on the insignificance of the public. There must be the proper allocation of the system. Kautilya attached the great significance to the public finance and started the administration about it. Kautilya divided the taxes into the three major categories, such as the taxes on the commodities produced in the country, the commodities produced in the capital, and the imposed on the imports and the exports. So he suggested the imposition of a heavy taxes on the imports of the luxuries and the other article, and which were not conducive to the welfare of the people. And the efficient machinery for the audit he suggested for that. Next one is the connection. Principles were followed in the connection with the realization of a taxes. A tax should be levied once in a year and should not prove to the burdensome. Taxes should be levied according to the ability to pay. Also included the public expenditure such as the national defense, public administration, the salaries of the ministers, expenditure on the government departments, storehouses incurred on the maintenance, national storehouses, expenses incurred for the maintenance of armies and the valuable gems, stones, etc. Land revenue is the chief source for earning the for the states. The rate for revenue private range between the 1/12 to 1/13 of the total produce of the land. This one with the tax system, and other revenues, house tax, road toll, street dues, suits, and tree taxes, etc. are there. Now, the next one is the town planning and the social security. For any state, there should be the proper the proper orientation and the proper allocation of development and maintenance of the roads and streets, so that the trade system and the other system can be managed properly. The villages were grouped together to for economic necessity for the national defense, and the other planning and emphasizes was laid on the maintenance of the sanitizations and the prevention of the fire. He believed that the prime duty of state to set up the charitable institutions and the poor houses and protect the weak and the aged person. Then the private property also he counted, but the 10, majorly the 10 principles were given by the Kautilya, and these are the certain extension of the principles. So the private property, he can given the list on the basis of that, the institutions of the private property, both movable and immovable, can comes into this category. Interest was justified in the ancient India, and they were not in the favor of high rates of interest. The rate of interest was varied from class to class. Nowadays, it is also going on. At that time, it is given by the Kautilya, and we are following that system, and by the upgradations of the system and the modification of that taxation system. That's why the Kautilya is known as the first economist, or the Arthashastra he has given, or write up the whole book regarding this. Kautilya proposed the regulation of the rate of interest, and him just rate of the interest would be the 15% as a general rule on the money lent to the traders and merchant. Even a high rate of interest would be possible. Production and consumption, of course, the life can be done or deals with the dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. As far as the production was concerned, the four agents were there: the land, labor, capital, and the organization were recognized for these production, and these considered as the main source of wealth. Price control, each and they give the slabs for selling or to the all each the people of that state, and it is an important function. And the main object is what? To price control was to protect the consumers against the malpractices of the shrewd and the dishonest traders. So they give the slabs or the price as per the tax system. So the selling prices for the needy people or the for basic commodity should be less than as compared to the high or the luxurious things. Now, the socio-economic structure in ancient India was based on the dictates of the religions. And there are the certain criticism also there. Each and every concepts and the laws has a certain criticism. Did not regard separations of economics with the discipline. And the concept of welfare state was a kernel of the ancient Indian economic thought, and that was responsible for the economic prosperity. And also, in ancient India was governed by the moral sanctions and the religious ideals. So this is all about the contribution of economic development. Hopefully, you will able to understand the basic concepts or the basic principles given by the Kautilya for the economic development. Majorly, the 10 principles were there, and further is the advancement of that. So that thank you for patiently listening. Hopefully I'm helping you to understand this topic properly. We will meet you with the next topic soon. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.